Breaking news tonight, an F-16 crashing just west of Luke Air Force Base in Glendale. We're hearing that 2 pilots are safe, but this investigation is just getting started.
ABC 15's Adam Slinger is live gathering the latest on this. And Adam, you actually saw this jet right before the crash.
Yeah, I was watching it. It was right about 7 o'clock, and I remember thinking, man, that jet is flying awfully low, awfully fast, but it wasn't too unnerving because we're right by the Air Force Base. I saw the jet disappear behind a tree line, and then just about a minute later, 7 police cruisers raced right by me. And you can see emergency crews are still on the scene right now. They're down in that field right now gathering whatever evidence they can find. Several people saw this plane go down. I was just talking to one teenager who saw the moment of impact.
I saw the plane coming down and I saw it just plummet so fast to the ground. It was like nose first.
Now, Luke Air Force Base says there were 2 pilots on board and they were not seriously hurt when they hit the ejection button. The 2 pilots were an instructor and a student. Witnesses say the plane looked like it was trying to head back towards the runway before it went down. Now, as for the cause of the crash, the Air Force Base says there appears to be some sort of malfunction on the plane. They were in the middle of a training session, practicing taking off and landing, but the base is not exactly sure what that malfunction was. Some people I talked to say the crash shook their entire house. Others say it wasn't the sound that made the neighbors walk out of their home, it was the black smoke.
I thought it was going to be a bigger explosion. I thought you'd actually hear something, but it was just this big black cloud of smoke going up.
And Jamie Andrews sent us this picture of the smoke just seconds after the crash. I mean, it looks like that black smoke almost appears to be a mushroom cloud. Rural Metro firefighters also witnessed the crash, and they were the first ones on the scene talking to the pilots, actually, just a minute or 2 after it went down. The pilots, as I said, were talking. They appear to be in good condition. Luckily, all this happened in a field where there are homes nearby. None of the houses were hit. Everyone appears to be okay, so that is the good news, Steve and Katie. The base also says that as of this moment, all flight operations have been suspended, so we're going to have to see when that suspension is lifted.
Yeah, and that's standard operating procedure whenever they have something like this, just in case it is some problem that could affect other planes as well.
Exactly.
You know, the Air Force has been concerned about the condition of F-16s for years. In fact, the fleet was supposed to be retired about 7 years ago. And in the past, Luke officials have told us most of their F-16s were actually built back in the 1980s.
And many of us remember about 15 years ago, we saw a string of F-16 crashes over at Luke. During a 9-month period, 6 fighter jets crashed, costing about $20 million each. Air 15 captured this scene back in March of '99, and after the crash, the Air Force suspended all of its fighter flights at Luke while those F-16s were inspected. In at least 4 of those crashes, investigators blamed engine failure. The Air Force ended up getting an extra $20 million in its budget to replace all the engine parts.
And I've actually had a chance to ride in one of these planes. This is back in 2003 with the Air Force Thunderbirds. This is an aircraft that's very powerful, capable of pulling 9 Gs. That's 9 times Earth gravity, which makes your body, my body, felt like it weighed about 1,800 pounds. You can imagine the stress it puts on pilots. And 6 months after we aired this story, one of the Thunderbirds crashed at an air show, and the team was grounded for the remainder of the year. We're going to stay on top of tonight's crash. All hands on deck out at the scene. Count on updates during this newscast.